Get ready for the dictation. 5 seconds. Start. Sir, I was speaking on the child labor bill brought in this house. I continue from where I left. The major loophole of this act is that it only covers the children in organized sector and it is not covering 90% of the children working in urbanized urban and rural sectors. Further, the Act does not specify the minimum age of employment of children in processes and occupations where the child labor is not prohibited. In the absence of clarity on child labor legislations to abolish child labor, the central government and state governments initiated several action oriented programs to withdraw children from hazardous works. The most significant step in this direction was the adoption of National Policy on Child Labor. In the National Policy on Child Labor, many measures have been suggested. It suggested drafting of a legislative action plan and suggested that focus should be given on general development programs for the benefit of child labor wherever possible. It has also suggested a project based plan of action in areas of high concentration of child labor engaged in wage or quasi wage employment. Further, under this policy, a child labor technical policy has also been evolved to advise the central government. In order to reduce the child employment, a number of committees have been set up, various policies have been framed, plenty of steps have been taken, different states have framed rules and regulations at different times, but we have not succeeded in totally preventing child labor. Obviously, the reason is all the measures that have been taken earlier were in the nature of reducing child labor but not for abolishing child labor. The penal provisions which have been incorporated in various acts were also not adequate. They were all in the nature of simple punishment of 3 months imprisonment or fine. But no stringent punishment was proposed neither in the Central Act nor in state acts. As a result, the increasing number of child labor was not controlled. Sir, I would like now to draw the attention of this august House towards the report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Welfare on Abolition of Child Labor. In this report, it has been stated that the committee recommended that the ministry should formulate a clear and cogent policy so as to abolish the child labor system. The report further says the committee note with distress that although the Ministry of Labor had assured the committee to make the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act more stringent by amending the Act, nothing has been done so far even after lapse of considerable time. It further states that viewing the situation With great concern, the committee are of the view that necessary steps should be taken to mobilize the state governments for the enforcement of the child labor law in letter and spirit. They are also of the view that regular monitoring should be done by the Ministry of Labour in this regard. The Honorable Prime Minister has also shown the concern with the child labour issue. With all these drawbacks, you have to appreciate the positive steps taken by the present central government, particularly the Honorable Prime Minister, who has pointed out that the Government of India is committed to eliminate all forms of child labour. The Honorable Prime Minister expressed confidence that the child labour could be eradicated if all sections of the society join hands in rooting it out while handing over the certificates to some child labourers who have completed their 7th class bridge course. We have to appreciate the concern of the Honorable Prime Minister as well as the central government in this regard. Sir, no doubt different projects for the welfare of the children have been taken by the central government and by the state governments. Food security provided by the midday meal program has had a positive impact on reducing child labor. The scheme of Ministry of HRD with the objective of education for all has substantially raised literacy levels among the children. The government has now adopted project-based approach to eliminate child labor. It involves education, stipend, motivation, health concerns, and vocational guidance also. Food supplement is also given to them. The monitoring machinery is being strengthened at all levels based on inputs from teachers, employees of the Labour Department, and the project authorities. A major activity initiated under the National Child Labour Project is the establishment of special schools to provide non-formal and formal education, vocational training, stipend, health checkup, and supplementary nutrition to the children withdrawn from jobs. Presently, 100 child labour projects have been sanctioned. So, in this regard, I would like to suggest that there is a need to have coordination between three ministries of Labour, Health and Human Resource Development in order to implement all the projects for the welfare of the children. There is a need of having a coordination between Labour, Health and HRD ministries so that the coordination between all these three ministries is able to eliminate child labour in a proper and better manner. It is because these three ministries are primarily responsible for imparting education to children and provide certain facilities like midday meals and stipend and help the NGOs to impart education. For the health department, it is necessary to provide health care to women and newborn children and provide nutrition. The Ministry of Labour particularly has to coordinate and help in eliminating the child labor in hazardous occupations. Even though a number of positive steps have been taken by the present central government for the welfare of child labor, no steps have been taken in the present legislation to abolish child labor, as prevailing atmosphere in the society was not favorable to bring in the legislation to abolish the child labor completely. Stop.